Trump promised to be a dictator on day one. We are now past day 200. The shock that started it all. On the campaign trail, Donald Trump stood on stage, smiled at the cheering crowd, and said something that made headlines around the world. "I will be a dictator, but only on day one." The statement was meant to be bold. Some people laughed. Others were shocked. And the news media exploded with debates. Was he joking? Was it a threat? Or was it a glimpse into what he would really do if he returned to the White House? Now, here we are. Day 200 of Trump's second term. The campaign promise has become a government reality, and the question is no longer what will he do, but what has he done? Let's go back to where it all started. When Trump took the oath of office again, people were watching closely. Not just in America, but around the world. Everyone wanted to see if he would follow through on his dictator on day one promise. Within hours, he signed a series of executive orders, the kind of actions a president can take without Congress. He moved fast, targeting immigration policies, environmental regulations, and trade agreements. The most controversial move came when he declared a national energy emergency, allowing him to bypass certain legal processes. Supporters said it was necessary to revive the oil and gas industry. Critics called it an abuse of power. Then came the order to deploy federal agents to what he called high-crime cities without the approval of local governments. This caused immediate protests. Governors from several states pushed back, accusing Trump of ignoring state rights. By midnight, day one was over. The dictator promise was technically fulfilled. But the tone was set. Trump was ready to use every ounce of presidential power, and maybe even stretch it. The first month felt like a political earthquake. Trump's aggressive start left Congress scrambling. Lawmakers from his own party were split. Some backed him fully, others worried about the speed and scale of his changes. In foreign policy, he pulled the US out of several international agreements, saying they were bad deals that hurt America. This made allies nervous and adversaries curious. Meanwhile, his approval rating among Republicans shot up. Among Democrats, it dropped even further. The political divide widened. Cable news ratings soared as every night brought a new headline. Protest marches filled city streets. Social media became a battleground of memes, clips, and fiery debates. Month 2. Power consolidation. By the second month, it became clear this was not just about day one. Trump continued to expand executive authority. He pushed through new rules for federal agencies, limiting their independence and bringing more control under the White House. He replaced several top officials with loyalists who shared his vision. In the Justice Department, new leadership took a more aggressive stance on border enforcement and voter fraud investigations. Critics accused him of weakening checks and balances, the very systems that prevent any US president from becoming too powerful. Supporters said he was simply cutting out the bureaucracy and getting things done. Month 3. Big policy battles. By month 3, the first major policy battles had begun. Trump pushed a sweeping immigration bill that would reduce legal immigration and make it harder for asylum seekers to stay in the US. In Congress, Democrats fought back hard. But Trump had an advantage. Public opinion in swing states was leaning toward his side, especially after a high-profile case involving an undocumented immigrant accused of a violent crime. Meanwhile, on the international stage, Trump took a tougher line on China, imposing heavy tariffs and threatening to cut off certain tech exports. Beijing responded with tariffs of its own, and economists warned of a trade war. Month 4. Tensions inside the country. By month 4, tensions inside the country were high. Several large protests broke out in major cities, demanding Trump respect the Constitution and the limits of his power. In response, Trump held rallies in rural areas, where supporters cheered his defiance of the Washington establishment. News outlets covered clashes between protesters and counter-protesters. In some cities, the National Guard was deployed to maintain order, something that added fuel to the dictator label critics had been using since the campaign. What happens next? So, did Trump mean it when he said he'd be a dictator on day one? If you look only at the first 24 hours, maybe not. But if you look at the past 200 days, you see a president who has used more executive power than almost anyone before him. The real question now is, where does this path lead? Will the next 200 days bring even more dramatic moves? And will the country come together, or continue to live in two separate political worlds? Only time will tell.